You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Right, Chris.
Oh, righty. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye. Hello, wherever you are in the world, one of those will apply to you. This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us live on YouTube, if that is how you are watching us, or via LinkedIn and Twitch, if they are your viewing pleasures. Please do join in the chat down the left-hand side. Try and keep it on target, so what you're talking about at that point. Otherwise, we can't always include your comments in the show. If you're watching on catch-up, nice to see you. Where were you? Did bring a note from your mother? But if you are watching on catch-up, stick your comments below on YouTube. Always interested to see them. And if you're listening via your podcast platform of choice, thank you so very much for doing that as well. I do a radio show as well in the mornings. Most of you probably know that by now. I've rammed it down your throats enough. And there's a guy that follows me on a Monday and Thursday, John. Hi, John. He's not watching. I don't know why I said that, but I was just being polite. And he always starts off when he does his show. He's welcome to the happiest hour of the week. This is Leicester City. This is the Premier League. Welcome to the most depressing hour of the week. Hopefully we'll take your mind off it. Somehow, probably not. This is Let's Talk Leicester. I have got the most beautifully strawberry ready to come in and join us tonight. Kate, she'll be joining us straight after this. Good evening.
Hello. How are you?
It's hot in here, isn't it?
Yes, I've been to the gym. It's not sunburn, and I got so warm in there. I've not cooled off in time, and sorry if I look like a strawberry. You do not need to adjust your TV or phone screens.
You never warm down at the end of it.
Yeah, you do, but I'm still flipping hot when I do it.
I had a heart attack 5 or so years ago, and part of the recuperation for that is you go to an NHS gym session just to try and get you a bit of exercise. Look at this body has done exercise. You wouldn't believe it, would you? But they don't know why they did a cooling down session, because our total exercise was like walking around in a circle, but we still did a cooling down session at the end of it. But look, it is what it is. Welcome along, Kate. We are literally less than a week away to our big kickoff. Nervous?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm excited though as well. I know there's a lot of doom and gloom and preemptions about things at the moment, but I'm excited. I've missed football. It feels like a long time since we won the championship. It's going to be kicking on 4 months, isn't it? So I'm really excited to get going with the season, because we all love watching Leicester, even though they put us through it.
Oh, that's part of the being a Leicester fan, isn't it? Yeah. Being put through the ring. I'm only 21. I just look like this because
watching Leicester an uphill paper round.
Exactly. That's it. I was the lad on that bike in the Hovis adverts, which was actually filmed in Dorset, where I live now.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I assumed it was Yorkshire.
Yeah, people do, but it's a hill in somewhere, and I can't remember the place where it's called, but it is actually somewhere in Dorset.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry, I've just probably ruined everybody's childhood memories now, haven't I? But there we go. Now, I still don't like Hovis, to be honest with you. Pre-season, I don't want to dwell on pre-season, because we've done pre-season to death. And even Rob Tanner, who obviously writes at Athletic, and we had him on last night, he has tweeted that this is the worst pre-season he can remember. And he's reported, not just watched, but he's reported on Leicester for 16 years now, both at the Mercury and obviously at the Athletic now. And do please do follow him on The Athletic and sign up. I think there's always offers on. I think when I joined, it was like £1 a month for the first 12 months, and you cancel and you join and get an offer. But it's one of the best reads, isn't it? It's not.
It is. It's really good. Yeah.
You know pretty much what they report is good.
And the coverage is pretty fair. Like, they go into detail on every team, not just the usual people. And they go into detail on formations, styles of play. Yeah, it's good for a football stat geek, I think, as well.
It is. And if you ever wonder and you ever complain about John Rudkin, do go and check out Rob's story on John Rudkin. It is very, very eye-opening. But like I say, he said it was one of the worst pre-seasons he's ever known. And I was thinking about this, and in a way, I'm quite pleased because it's sort of dulled my expectations. We're talking about hope streams and expectations, but you come up as winners with the championship, and we'd sort of romped it, really. Well, I know we only ended up squeezing up at the end by the point, but we were romping it at one point. And I think a lot of people, myself included, thought, yeah, we're not going to go back up and be like the Leicester that was finishing, fifth and challenging for the Champions League, but we're going to do quite well. I think with everything that's gone on, with Enzo leaving, losing our best player this pre-season, maybe it's just brought us back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think because the summer has felt so long, to me anyway, because there's so much that's happened. We've had the Euros and then the Olympics. It feels like a really long time since that jubilation that we felt when we won the league. So that has had time. We didn't really have time to settle and enjoy that moment because Enzo left quite quickly. And then the rumour mill would have started with KDH. So, yeah, I understand what Rob's saying. We set ourselves up for a fall a bit. Obviously, KDH and Enzo was out of our hands, but it was really disappointing. I think from what I've read, that Enzo declined the invitation to play in the America Cup friendly thing over there, which was disappointing. Yeah. That might have brought out different things. And also, we didn't have a home fixture, which that's really tough on fans to not see any of the new signings. And give Steve a welcome, really. Like, even though it's a sort of, dress rehearsal for the welcome on Monday, it would have been nice to have a home game. And I can't remember when we've not had a home pre-season fixture. I felt like all of it was a bit last minute, which might be because Enzo was leaving, but surely you should have got your calendar sorted.
Yeah, I mean, Rob was saying last night with the America thing that Enzo's very much a coach. He drills it into people. This is what you do in this situation, and this is you don't venture off that course, if you like, and that's what he wanted to do pre-season. That's why he didn't go to America, and it's quite funny. Of course, he went to Chelsea and ended up having to go to America, and as you can see a little bit, they're suffering maybe because of that, because he can't get that message across to the players that he would have done if he'd been at home. I don't know, did we replace the turf or something at the King Power? But we've always, like you say, we've always had a big home. Well, certainly in recent times, since we've been at the KP, we've had a big game, haven't we, at the KP before?
Yeah, usually a foreign team. I think. Because
I've seen us play Real Madrid. I've seen us play Barcelona.
I think I've seen us play Fiorentina. Who did? Fofana break his leg against.
You can't see it. The camera's not quite on it. But you see the mugs up at the top just there.
Yeah.
On the other side of that is my Real Madrid mug.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. I think Fofana broke his leg against I can't remember who that was against, but that was a European team.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not. They've normally got a few homegrown teams, maybe League One, Championship, which I think is great. I actually looked at the fixtures, I think I said the other day, before we won the league, and the fixtures in pre-season that year were like Lincoln, Mansfield and Rotherham, I think, which is a real confidence builder. You pick those lower league teams to build confidence and to try different styles of play, because it's a slower pace. And yeah, we played the 7th in Ligue 1 last weekend, and we're not going to be near that level, let alone
a
makeshift squad potentially.
That's a very good point, and I wanted to I'll raise that with you now, as soon as you mentioned it. Is that do you learn anything by playing teams like Burton's? And no disrespect to them, but the sort of League One teams that we always used to seem to play. We never, before we sort of were owned by King Power, our pre-seasons were never exactly spectacular, were they? They were always, like you say, League One, lower Championship sides. Yes, you win them, but do you actually learn anything by winning? Do you not learn more by losing and seeing what your problems and seeing what your faults are? And coming up to the Premier League, yes, it has, we've played bigger teams this season. Like you say, Augsburg were no fools. Palmero were no fools. They're all good European teams. And have we learned more, or will Steve Cooper have learned more by actually losing games? If that makes sense.
A bit of a catch-22, isn't it? Because losing games helps you identify weaknesses and anomalies and problems with the system, but also that can really crucify confidence, particularly under a new manager and a team that's learning to buy into his philosophy. So it would have been nice, I guess, to maybe have a mixture, because we played like Northampton and Burton last pre-season, didn't we? I went to both of those. And it gets the fans, like it starts to connect the new players with the fans. That's where Cody made his debut last year pre-season. And it can be, a mixture would have been nice. And a home fixture for sure.
We had Shrewsbury.
Oh, yeah.
But like I say, I'm being facetious there.
It wasn't at home now, yeah. But
it wasn't at home, no. Like I say,
King Power, I listened to the BBC podcast this week's one. I think Pipe said his brother was doing the painting and decorating.
Yes.
So maybe it's not ready, but God, only for one evening, then you can start painting again the next day.
Oh, yes. But look, and as well, I think I've not known a season like this. The first show I ever did with Brad as LTID TV was we did a review of the pre-season when we played Birmingham behind closed doors, and that was on the website on LCFC.com. But I've never known a pre-season where we have been able to watch every single game like we have now, apart from obviously the first game, which was behind closed doors. And it's ended up that we've been analysing them like we would do proper, Premier League games, if you like, or league games. And that you've got, I've got to think like it isn't. It is a case of throwing the, 10 players on and seeing, what comes out of it, sort of thing. So we've actually probably been unfair by judging and reviewing these as if they were proper league games.
Yeah, I agree. And I think obviously the disappointment of the transfer window so far across the fan spectrum probably doesn't help with that either, because we know that we're lacking options in attack, particularly because KDH has now gone, and we're looking for those number 10 or number 8 players, as well as a partner for Vardy or a replacement for Vardy. So I think that sets the tone a little bit, like with fans, that they do feel we're really lacking. And then when they receive results that seem to really evidence that we are lacking, it can make people quite angry. But I have no problems with Cooper at this stage at all, because he's got the hand he's been dealt. The window isn't finished, and we've not really kicked a ball in the league. So hopefully he'll have seen a lot about what not to do and what we don't need, what systems we don't try, and what players don't work in positions. So as much as it's useful to know what you want to do, it's also useful to know what you don't want to do. Oh, have you frozen?
You're frozen there, but I'm back, I believe. Cooper was one of the 3 that I wanted in, and we've got to give him time. I know Luke wants him out as soon as possible, bless him. But you can't do anything now, and he's got to be judged on, the actual games, actual league games. So we'll see. we will see what happens.
And I'll say it again, like, we said the other day that I think Solanke scored 19 out of Bournemouth's 54 goals last season. So that is more than a third of their goals came from Solanke, and now they've lost Solanke. They may have got 60 million quid in the pocket, but in Vardy's heyday, we could have got a lot more than that for Vardy if he'd gone to Arsenal, but it doesn't replace Vardy.
No.
So they haven't replaced Solanke. You can't just go out and buy someone that easily. So there's going to be a lot of clubs that have their own problems, their own concerns. Fan base is kicking off, and I think genuinely it's from 11 to 20 will be a relegation scrap in a way if we can't string a few results together. So we've just got to try and enjoy the good times, and through the bad, just support the team, support Cooper. Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to be happy about it, but there's an element of what we can do. And Steve Cooper said that at his Q&A that Vardy had talked about during the 15-16 season. He genuinely believed every time we came out at home, we were never going to lose because the crowd was amazing. Yeah, he said, I just knew we weren't going to lose. So you need to remember what we can do. We can't do a lot behind the scenes, but we can do that.
And it's worth checking out. We did do a show. Was it this week or last week? I can't remember now.
We did a show on Sunday, didn't we?
Yeah. If you go on to that was right. LTID TV. It's called the LCFC Catch Up, and both you and Craig went to that Q&A. So it was a very good review of that. So do go and check that out, people, if you haven't done already, and you are able to get to the Q&A. Yeah, it is. Like, we've got to accept it's going to be a difficult season. I did a prediction show yesterday, like I say, with Rob, and we went from 20 up to number 1 about where we think people will be, and we said sort of, like you say, 12, 13 down. You can swap teams around in the positions. And I was watching a Athletic video earlier, funnily enough, and it had 2 of their reporters doing their 20 to number 1 as well, and unfortunately they both had Leicester coming bottom. I know it's going to be a tough season. PSR. Let's get on to the big elephant in the room. And again, please get on. I was watching this earlier in the bath. Don't ask. And I was watching
too much information. Just say you
information there. Yes, the joy of having mobile phones these days. I was watching a Talk Sport video, and they did an interview with Richard Masters, the head of the EPL, and love him or hate him. Who's the guy that does it with Jim White? Oh, ex Simon Jordan. That's it. He absolutely tore him a strip off. In this review of that.
Good at that.
Sorry?
He's good at that.
He is. And to be quite honest with you, I think he was expecting an easy ride. And in fairness, Jim White didn't. It was a pre-record. Jim White didn't give him one. But PSR, it's now, according to the Mercury, it could be as late as the new year when we hear.
Yes, I saw that. That's quite an interesting thing to hear. I don't know if it's because they're going to be busy doing the 115 charges for Manchester City that's now been brought forward. But I do think, and I wish fans would see this a little bit more. You see a lot of negativity about, what have we done? We've messed up. We've got it wrong. Rudkin did this. Top did that. Susan didn't do this. Whereas actually, I don't think Top's an idiot. I don't think he'd go legal if he knew he was onto a loser. I think we have to, he's always, I think in that message he initially sent about PSR, he said on that statement that it was about fair sporting competition. And if we don't have that, and the Premier League are taking that away through stupid stipulations in PSR, which is unrealistic, then you may as well not play football. If you've not got fair sporting competition, which we all love in every single sport, then what's the point? You can't have rules that restrict it. And I think that's what Leicester are trying to achieve by taking them to court. And, the stupid clause and statement that they released after Everton and Forest appealed was something like, you can't legally challenge our clauses because they've not been written by a legal solicitor, and we can basically write what we want and you can't challenge them, was pretty much how the statement read. But if it's going to have such massive financial implications, of course you're going to take it legally. If you're going to dock us points that could cost us tens of millions. But what the Premier League probably haven't foreseen is that Top has billions in the bank, billions. Yeah. And you're not restricted on legal fee costs as part of PSR. So he can throw the book at this and a load of money. And he will do if it's about his club and defending it. And I wish more fans would see that siege mentality in Top that he's trying to do. He's trying to actually fight for the other 14 clubs in the league outside the top 6 and everybody else that's been punished by these stupid, unrealistic rules. And I wish people would be more supportive of that, because if we don't have fair sporting competition, it's game over, isn't it?
No, 110%. And in a way, people look at Manchester City and all right, their details have been brought forward and could be next month now when that's looked into. And we've got Chelsea as well, but and you got Newcastle. And in fairness, Newcastle are trying to play ball. They're not buying players that they probably could do because of PSR. And look, as Rob said, PSR is not being used in the way that it was brought in to be used. If that makes sense, and but like you say, they're saying, Manchester City have got all this money. Top's got lawyers, like you say, that sit there day in. That's all they do is work for him and his companies, and he can.
He can throw the book at it. These rules may not have been written under law, and they may not have been passed by a government bill. These PSR rules. That's where the football regulator is going to come in, but you cannot put rules in place that aren't particularly fair or watertight. That's what we got off from the EFL last year, because it wasn't watertight. They didn't factor in that someone from the Premier League might get relegated and fall between the stools, which is what happened. Yeah. So they've just got to be careful, because if Top blows this wide open, it could be really, really changeable. But I wish we'd have a siege mentality on it that, Top's going to fight for our club. He wants to do the right thing and the fair thing. And if successful, it could completely change the landscape.
Yes, no, it will. And I think I made this comment. I think this is one thing that I can't get overly excited about this season. And like you say, normally I'm excited now. Within the last week before we kick off, the first game's coming up. And, it goes back to the Martin O'Neill years when I used to think every time those seasons started, let's just finish 17th. Let's just stay up. And we'd kind of come out of that because we were used to sort of finishing top half, etc. But the thing with this season is I'm looking at that table. When I was doing my predictions, where I thought would finish 20th, sorry, Forest fans, and who I thought would finish top. And do check it out. Again, it's up on LTID TV1. And it's full of. We agreed on quite a bit, me and Rob. I was quite impressed with myself, But it's the fact that I look at this table for next season and think this is going to be decided by a group of people sat around a table that have probably never put on a pair of football boots in their life.
That don't have a fair vested interest across all 20 clubs.
Yeah. And I just think, I want to see a league. I want to see, a season where it is decided by something going off somebody's arse into the goal. Not, the fact of where this line is or that line is, or 6 people sat around a table deciding that they're going to have deducted 10 points and that puts them into the relegation zone. I think that's what's ruining it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. They're making almost the on-field a science and off-field a made-up bunch of accountancy rules.
Yes.
And that's not what football is.
No.
Offside wasn't meant to be a science. Or, millimetre, just because someone's got a size 9 and someone's got a size 14. That's not how it was supposed to be. But they don't care what fans think. They don't ask people who've played the game. They don't ask referees. There should be a margin of error that's allowed for offside. Just common sense stuff. And I feel like that's gone out the window a long time ago. And there's nobody in the FA or PL or EFL that really has that common sense approach.
No. I was reading somewhere, and I don't know where it was, but I was reading somewhere that there's some new things coming in with mobile phones or something where it will be a quick decision this coming season about offside, that all these things will line up and you'll get that. Because you got it with the Euros, didn't you? There was an instant sort of yes or no. We weren't hanging about for these offside rules, but I still think there should be gap between somebody's trailing foot, that's the striker, and the defender's forward foot. If there isn't clean air between the two people, then it's not offside for me. But Wayne's just
daylight was easy.
Sorry?
The daylight rule was easy, wasn't it? That was easy to interpret.
Yeah. That's simple, you know. If you, well, but anyway, that's another topic for another day. Wayne's saying, have you seen it on X, the tweet? You send that to me. If you have not seen it yet, it's a seminar for the promoted teams. It is very, very funny and very, very
realistic.
Yes. It's a bit like the South Park Meghan and Harry show, you know, sarcastic, funny, but hitting the nail on the head.
A bit like The Office. If anyone's watched the UK Office, it's a bit like that as well.
Love the UK. The American one, no, forget the American one. They've absolutely ruined it.
It's like cringe and uncomfortable, but you know it actually happens.
Yes. You know, anybody that's ever worked in an office, yes. You know, and did you ever see the film? Just to sidetrack a bit, he did a film.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't quite as good, but yes, we've all met the David Brents, haven't we? We really have. But squad numbers are out today.
Oh, are they? I've not seen. Okay.
Yeah. Danny Ward, number 1.
Okay.
But I think, to be honest with you, I mean, I think we all had that sort of thing, but. Look, he's been number.
Wanted to pick his number. Is he the same number as last year? Potentially.
And does it really matter if he's number 1 or number 101? You know, we've seen players with 74 on the backs come onto pictures and what have you, haven't we?
Yes.
It's all. It means nothing these days. It's quite funny when you watch the old ITV4 match revisited, and you know, it was 1 to 11 and no names.
Yeah. Because I think KDH is still number 23 at Chelsea. I think Riyad was always 26 at Man City.
Yeah,
they just get associated with a number, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, we've got the 11. Well, the 10. It goes up to number 10. We've got no number 11 or 12 or 13.
Is that because we've not signed them yet?
Probably. We're waiting to see what the taxman says. But Mads is number 30, Everson 31, and we go up to 44 with Sammy Baybrook. But and Buenete is number 40. But look, it means sweet FA, doesn't it? It's like you know, when you look at the fixtures when they come out, you know that those aren't going to be played on those days.
What's Fatawu gone for?
Fatawu is number 10, I believe. No, he's not. Fatawu 7. He's still 7. Okay. So we've got Danny Ward 1, James Justin 2, Wout Faes 3, Cody 4, Akoli 5, Ndidi 6, Fatawu 7, Winks 8, Vardy 9, Mavididi 10.
Ndidi's 6, is he?
Ndidi 6, yes.
Oh, he's got 25. That's interesting.
Yeah.
He's been 25 for ages.
You can take all your shirts back, guys. The Kovareed is 14.
Get your Tipex out and the 5.
Yeah, exactly. The Kovareed's 14, Christensen 16, Chowdhury 17, Daka 20, Ricardo 21, but he's 21 now anyway, isn't he?
That's the usual, yeah.
Vestergaard 23, Samara is still there, 24. Like I say, we can go on and on, but it's interesting. It's one of those things you look at. It doesn't really matter, you know. Somebody's going like, "What the hell?" You know, number 1, Danny Ward. We know he's not. Well, we don't know what he's going to be doing next season, isn't it? Mike says here Trent wears 66 for Liverpool. I mean, yeah. It is ridiculous, but there we go. Those are numbers out. Wilfred indeed, like I say, has changed.
Oh, you're frozen again.
Number 6, which is good to see. Christians, what is it? I'm just looking here. Right, this. Sorry, just a sidetrack, but I'm going to have a Dave moment here. On the picture that they've put on the website, they have got a picture of number 16, which is obviously Christensen, from behind. What is it with the? And I noticed it the other day with the shorts. They've got a pattern on them, but the pattern is at the back.
Oh, okay.
Don't tell me you don't study. Don't you tell me you don't study the players' bottoms. I know you do, Kate.
That's why I know in detail what the patterns on bums are like. So there's an arch, isn't there? Usually around the shorts at the back.
At the back, it kind of goes like that.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I've not seen that.
Okay. It's weird. First time I saw it on the pitch, I thought the guy had pissed himself.
Has he got him on back to front?
No, I'm just going to have to show you this now, aren't I?
Yeah.
Let's just. Let me do. I thought that looks strange. Maybe I just need to get a life. Maybe that's it. Right. Share screen. Here we go. You're going to say now completely something different and make me look stupid. I know, but
it doesn't take much, though, does it? Let's be honest.
Oh, you can't really see that, can you?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. It does look like there's some soiling gone on there.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's not a flattering picture anyway, because it is definitely he's squeezed his buttocks tight there because it's stuck up there. But I don't like that at all.
No. Not a fan.
No. I'm glad it's not just me then. Anyway, Daniel's in. How are you, Wayne? You had to drop the Danny Ward grenade, Chris. I did. Boom. There you go. That's the Danny Ward grenade. Have you paid your taxes, Kate?
Yes, thanks. I don't get any choice.
Most of us don't, but apparently Wilfred Zaha. I mean, God, only Leicester. Oh, Crystal Palace as well, I guess. You said to me yesterday, I think before we did one show, like you couldn't do the transfer show that I did, but you were saying like you could come on later just in case we signed Zaha. I think you could give it the kiss of death. I mean, only Leicester can. I mean, come on, what the hell is going on? And I've got to say, in fairness, Rob Tanner did say it's not the club's fault. We all say, oh, the club aren't doing this and the club aren't doing that. As he said, they are working their socks off to get these signings in. But things happen, things go on. There's so many components go into getting a player in. But I never thought the taxman would be one of them.
No, me neither. And I think I said to you earlier on text that if Zaha decides that the tax tail wags his football dog, then I'm not sure that he's the right guy for us. If we're not exactly going to be paying him minimum wage.
No.
And he'll have paid that tax anyway had he worked in the UK during that time. And I imagine he's earned a lot of money. So whilst I understand to one degree, you don't really want to pay tax if you don't have to. But when you're 31 and perhaps only got a couple of offers of Premier League time left, it's, it would be a no-brainer for me. When
you earn that sort of money, I suppose I don't earn that sort of money, obviously, but you do wonder, like, does tax become irrelevant, really?
Yeah. I mean, if you earn, I don't know, 100 grand a week, you're losing probably 2/3 of that.
Yeah. So it's still not bad, though, is it?
It's still not. It's not too shabby at all. Bloody hell! It's enough to pay the rates.
Yes.
So it's. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on Zaha's personal financial position because whatever people earn is irrelevant. It's what they spend that matters. So the idea that he's not coming because of potentially paying tax on income he's already earned as a non-resident temporarily, it just shouldn't come into the equation. Do you want to play Premier League football or not? You are going to get handsomely paid. You will probably get some kind of signing on fee for the loan. I can't imagine you'll pay any living costs. We'll probably provide you a house for the year. So it's how much you want it. And he stopped training because he was clearly wanted to get involved as much as possible and try and push in this move through. And then now he's turned up at training again today. So, I don't know. Football is I
know. But at the end of the day, I suppose playing devil's advocate here, looking at it from his side, if there is that delay, what does he do? does he just hang around and not train at all? At least I suppose he is getting the fitness and the training in.
Yeah, we don't know it's the debt. We don't know for sure that that's the problem. It could be tax from the club. It could be a tax the club has to pay. I don't know. I don't know. It's not a confirmed thing at all. And like with Leicester, they'll probably pull some name out of the hat in 2 days that has not been on the radar at all, and we've signed him.
Yes, yeah. I'm just reading here. I didn't realise he'd made a free transfer to Galatasaray.
Yeah, he ran his contract down at Palace. I think because he did kind of want to stay, but probably wanted an option as well. I just couldn't see him going back there anyway. Why would you go back?
I don't know. But here we go. According to The Athletic, discussions between Foxes, Chiefs and Zaha have failed to lead anywhere. Without an agreement in place, the attacker is now returning to team training, and the deal seems unlikely to be struck because of the tax liabilities he would incur upon returning to this country. Like you say, it's in his hand, and if somebody doesn't want to come, let's move on.
Yeah, and I'm sure if he's got a fancy accountant, I don't know, they could perhaps talk about deferring the income for a year. That's what Jordan Henderson did, apparently. Yeah, there's lots of ways around it, I am sure. But if you don't want to come, you don't want to come. And if your money rules you in that sense, when you're already going to get handsomely paid, then there's really not a lot I can say to that.
No. Buenete. Let's talk Buenete for a second.
Buenanotte.
Hey, look at you getting there. You've had pasta for lunch.
Defo.
I mean, now this one I am excited by.
Yeah, I mean, the last Argentinian that we signed was Estban, so that's where my head's at right now. So yeah, Argentinian international for the senior team. A couple of friendlies, I think.
Yeah.
Brighton obviously want to hold on to him. He signed a 5-year deal, hasn't he? Was it 2023? I think he signed a new deal with them. They want to keep hold of him. And he's only 19, so I don't think we should get ahead of ourselves a little bit. But you know, he sounds like a really exciting prospect, and I love that kind of age group because they don't have any fear. They don't have any respect for bigger teams and bigger clubs. They just go out and play football and do the best. A bit like Fatawu, like they don't care who you are. They just give everything, and it's great. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm hoping that, he does the business for us, or it just helps us sort of with some cohesion up front, because that's going to be tough. Even if we do get the personnel in, it's going to be tough to just all of a sudden make it work. Because we've not got much time. So, but yeah, really excited about him.
He's got Premier League experience because he played 40 games for Brighton. I think if De Zerbi had still been there, and I still can't get my head around, the what happened there, but I think if De Zerbi had still been there, I don't think we would have him.
No.
But they obviously they are hoping a lot because, like you said, they're giving him that extra contract. KDH replacement.
I don't think I can see him as a box-to-box, which I think is what KDH probably was under the umbrella of a little bit. I don't think he would be as industrial as KDH was. But in terms of attacking, I'd like to think he might top it, because I don't think KDH scored enough even for Enzo. He started to do more and more because he was putting himself in those positions in the box and just making himself push forward a bit more, considering where Brendan used to play him. So, yeah, I'd like to think he was a bit more front-footed than Kiernan. But he won't be that industrial, covering every blade of grass, probably the longest runner on the pitch.
No, as long as I'm just hoping somebody that will put the ball forward. And,
exactly. That's what we're here for. That is what we're here for. But yeah, it's interesting that you say that about De Zerbi leaving, because that's what can happen to anybody. That's the risk of when you move with a manager like Kiernan has and like Danny Drinkwater did. And when you move because of a manager and that manager goes... Yes. It's tough. It can make it very tough. So, who knows? We might stay up, do really well, and he falls in love with us and wants to sign for us.
Yeah, I mean, look at the players that we signed under Rodgers. Samari and Christensen. Suddenly, Rodgers goes, and the new manager's going, don't really fancy you. You know what I mean? But Mike says here, Mike does cover. Hi, Mike. How you doing? He does cover. A lot of he knows his stuff. He covers a lot of football. Technically gifted, and I've watched him on the ball. Makes the simple things look simple, and has a low centre of gravity. Yeah, like I say, this is. I think he's for me, not necessarily box to box, but he could provide that link in midfield to get the ball forward more, and that's what I'm hoping, because that is what we've lacked in the pre-seasons, to be honest with you.
Being good on the ball is what he needs to be, because Kiernan did lack in that department a little bit at times. His touch could let him down sometimes. He sometimes made the wrong pass or even delayed making the pass too long. Whereas somebody who's front-footed, a low centre of gravity is great, because I think, we've had players like that before who can just run on the ball really easily, and it just makes attacking a lot more simpler.
Yes. I mean, you did say the last Argentinian we had was Cambiasso, and that's what excites you. But let's just remember the last South American we had was Tete.
I was at the Villa match 4-2. That's all I need to remember.
Yes, the best half ever from a South American in a Leicester shirt. It's a shame it was only half an hour. But yes, Ziv says here, "Hi Ziv, how you doing? Let's put McAteen at number 9 position." Somebody that comes on here, and do forgive me if you're in, and I know Scott says it a lot as well, about the youngsters. And Rob sort of said, reminded me of the old saying, you can't win anything with youngsters. It pees me off that you've got somebody, let's say like a Wayne Rooney, Plymouth, and you know, it was a shame. But no, he was thrown into the Premier League at 16. And he scored. He might have been 16, or he might have just turned 17 when he scored his first goal. Mike's Sin, Man United fan, he will tell us. But I mean, he was at Everton at the time, though, obviously. But we seem to be thinking, well, we've got these youngsters, but look, we can't, we can't introduce them until they're about 24, 25. For God's sake, let's just put them in. And I think I think it was yourself that said you're fed up with hearing, oh, Alves is the next best thing, When are we going to see this? And do you remember, I think it was the relegation year, we played Watford in the FA Cup, and we had to field a load of youngsters. And we beat Watford. And I think they may have been in the Premier League at the time, I'm not sure, but we beat them. And then the next round, we got Forest. All the main players came back, and when the Forest stuffed us.
Yeah.
Why not put them in? Why, like you say, you put them on the bench, great, so they got the atmosphere, they know what it's like to be part of the team. Let's give them a chance. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Take them off, put them off, and put somebody else on. But
especially now there's a comparison as well. There's a comparison that Buonanotte, like we've just said, has had 40 Premier League appearances. He's the same age as Alves.
Yeah, but we just don't seem to want to. I know not the club, but our managers don't seem to want to throw them in. And
it's a bit like the old England cricket, isn't it? You can only play for England at one point if you were 25 and up.
Yeah,
they've changed that now. They got rid of that rule, but it was just madness.
Oh, I just think they're good. We want to know whether they're going to sink or swim, and you're not going to know if you don't throw them in the pool.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've surely, if they're as good as they are, we've just given Alves an extended, contract. Ladies and gentlemen, Alves is in the building. Let's see him. Let's see him. He's got no, I've literally seen 20 minutes of him in pre-season, and I've been more impressed with those 20 minutes than I have from others 180 minutes or whatever. One
of my friends goes down to the academy quite a lot and has been going over the last 2 or 3 years. And he said, Alves is the brightest spark we've had for a long, long time. Like he said, he blows Freepik out the water, really. He said he's really exciting. Would love to see what he'd be like against the men, really.
Yes.
So if he doesn't get involved this year, we've got to loan him out or sell him or whatever. It's becoming a bit silly now.
It is. We've got this amazing training ground. We've got this amazing youth system. Let's bloody use it. You know what I mean? It would save us a fortune as well. Anyway, that's got that off my chest. But it reminds me of Messi. Tevez and De Zerbi tell Leicester City what to expect from Buonanotte. Tevez had him at Rossini, is it, in Argentina when he started out? He was manager there, and De Zerbi obviously loved him because he played him a lot. So really, I don't want to put too much pressure on the lad, but I just hope he can fill that gap that we see.
I don't want to put too much pressure on, but don't be shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just do more than half an hour's worth of decent football for us. But no, like I say, for me, I hope he can provide that. I think Daniel, I'm going to have to kick you out in a minute. In fact, I'm going to do Mike. Can you sort Daniel out, please? That would be fantastic. Right. Let's go back to strikers because we talked about Zaha. We were being linked with Idonis, is it? Or
Ioannidis or something like that. Yeah.
Ioannidis, something like that. Yeah. And now we're being linked with this Holdrek deal from Leverkusen. I did a show yesterday. Cheers, Mike. Thank you. I did a show yesterday. You weren't able to come on, comparing this Holdrek and Ioannidis. Neither of them are prolific goal scorers. And everybody's raving about this Adam Holdrek. I don't know how you pronounce his surname. We'll call him Adam. Everybody was talking about him. But he's come from Leverkusen. And, of course, Leverkusen, as we all know, had an amazing season last season. Double in Germany, Europa Cup final. Fair play to them. But he only actually played 23 times, and they weren't all starts. He only got 3 goals all season. We're not signing a 20-goal man striker here.
No.
Are we looking at him? And he's 22-year-old. He's a Czech international. He looks like to be the one we're most likely to sign, according to Rob Tanner. But are we sort of looking at where he's coming from rather than who he is?
Yes, possibly. But it's just hard to tell, isn't it? There's obviously something about him that we like. I don't know. The goal tally isn't supersonic. He's of an age where he should be coming into his prime years now, so you'd like to think you'd get more of a return from him than that. Being a bit part player isn't great, but then Leverkusen just had an incredible season, didn't they?
Yes.
So if you can understand why Alonso perhaps didn't want to change it, because they're having such an amazing season.
No, definitely. Maybe I was just on it's not been the best week for me. Maybe I was a bit of a downer yesterday. But comparing the pair of them, I mean, let's get them both in if we can do. But I don't know which one adds either or really. But I mean, up front, we've got major problems, haven't we?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and in Brendan's year, we had the summer before we got relegated, we had no defenders. In the summer before Enzo was arriving, we had no wingers. And then now we've got no strikers. I just wish we'd have a bit of cover throughout for a summer. Come on. There's always desperation in a certain area. And I hate that. I really hate that. Because you just look like panic buyers then. And then anybody will sell you any old shit, charge you through the nose for it. It's a worry, that end of the pitch, because I think when we've been relegated in the past, like in the early 2000s, the problem wasn't bleeding goals, it was we didn't score enough. And if you don't score in the Prem, you're screwed. It's not so much about conceding, because you see Man City frequently send 4, 5 or 6 past opponents. That's how it's become. But if you can't score, particularly against your direct peers and competitors, it's a real issue. But again, like you've just said, like, is there nobody in the academy that we could call on? Is there no number 9s or 10s that are coming through that you just think, okay, if we can't get anybody in, I'm sticking this guy in and see what happens? Or like someone's just said, stick somebody else up front like McAteer.
You again, there's nothing to lose, is there? And I mean, let's have a look at our striker options. Well, I think we could regret letting Iheanacho go. He had the season before he got relegated. He was our top scorer. I think it was that season. And in those good old days, you remember we used to play 2 up front. Him and Vardy, because of course Vardy was injured, so he came in. Vardy came back. You couldn't drop Iheanacho. This was under under the seal, obviously. Couldn't drop Iheanacho because he was scoring. Put them both together, and wow, it was like, God, saved our season, if you like. I think,
and it saves Vardy's legs a bit as well, because he's not going to come so deep for the ball if there's two of them.
Yes, yeah. I mean, together, and wow, who knew? Play two strikers together, and it would work, and yet it did. But I think we'll say we could regret that. Vardy's Vardy. He deserved his extra year, but he is of an age where, like I often say, he stubs his toe and he's out for 6 months, and that's no disrespect to him. That's just an age thing. You get older, it takes you long. I mean, I don't see anything that he did in that Seville game that has meant he's been out this long, but he isn't going to be starting against Tottenham. Daka, I don't know, he might do better with this medical boot on than a football boot. He might be able to find the back of the net. But he doesn't seem to like Cannon. What is going wrong with Cannon?
God, I don't know. It's one of two things to me. Either we've bought a lame horse and he's crocked, or we're setting him up to go out on a loan.
Well, I mean, he's the only fit striker we've got. We can't.
I know. And if it's none of those, then what must he be thinking?
Yeah,
I saw an interview he was interviewed this week. I think it was on the Leicester City app. I think he did an interview, and one of his friends. I mean, he's been here with us a year, and he said one of his priorities, or what he's looking to do personally outside of football this year, is to find somewhere to live. And I'm like, you've been here a year.
Yes,
it's not very committal, is it? Because he still comes down from Liverpool with Cody every morning. He car shares with Cody every day from Liverpool.
It's I don't know. I suppose if he's being put up in a hotel, you do get kind of comfy. I always think that
he's speaking from experience. Where have you been?
I mean, if I let's say I was in that position, I'd say put me up at the Holiday Inn, and then walk to the ground.
Yeah.
But you do. I mean, I know when I moved home, when I left home Leicester to go and work in Blackpool. And I was put up in it was nice, but it wasn't. It was a holiday flat, if you like. And I ended up staying there nearly a year and a half just because I couldn't be arsed. I just it was put me in here and just let's just get on with it. And it took me ages to actually move out. But we had one shot on target. We had one shot against Lens, and that was from Cannon.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like his approach to games. He's always willing to take shots when they're on, which I don't think we do enough. But even in the last few managers, we've just not peppered keepers, and some of the keepers we've faced have been pretty awful. Decent shot stoppers, but positioning or just testing them, without notice, if you like, just trying it. We just don't do it enough. Whereas Cannon, I feel, does it. He's got the Nugent about him. I quite like his movement, his high energy. And he's got a really, really sharp shot. So I don't know why we don't do that. He's definitely different to Vardy, and you want someone who's different. And we have to start. This year is almost certainly his last year. So we have to start. I feel like we're here 5 years ago. We've been doing this the past 5 years to try and get a Vardy replacement, and we've got one. He's 21. He's decent. Let's just give him a run. I don't really know what the boy has to do. If he's not being loaned out, or if he's not got a chronic injury, it's just so interesting that two very different managers with different styles have not given him a look in.
And how bad is it when it's Daka that's getting in that first team over you?
Oh, it's bleak with a capital B.
Yes. It's so, I mean, and look, I've stood up for Daka last season, not because I think he's prime time Teddy Sheringham or anything, but just because I didn't like the criticism he was getting. I thought it was a bit unfair, but he is awful. He is he's like Jeffrey Schlupp, isn't he? People in row double Z have got more to fear than the opposition goalkeeper when he shoots.
Well, Jeffrey Schlupp at least chased and challenged and attacked with venom. Daka's got no venom. Daka has got no venom. Like, there was a game, I think it was away at Leeds, and Daka was so timid, almost apologising to a player because he almost stamped on his foot. And then the ball went to, and then I remember a play where the ball went to Vardy and he almost took the guy's leg off on the line for a throw-in. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference in venom. Vardy is literally willing to go all in to win the throw-in.
Yes.
And Daka is almost apologising to a player because he bumped into him or stood on his foot. And I just wish he was more tenacious. Goals would come. He obviously can score goals. He's done it before. But his tenacity and his positioning and chasing shadows around the pitch is tiring to watch because he genuinely looks like a spare part. That's my issue more.
Yes, yeah. Just going back to to Adam. Let's call him Mike. Mike says here he's had it hard. Schick is ahead of him for the Czech Republic, and Boniface ahead of him at Bayern Leverkusen. Fair point. So he's had it hard to be a starting number 9. He would start for you. Yeah, I mean, look, I let's get somebody in, whoever it is. And I suppose I kind of deflated myself when I was doing the comparison, but the comparison, it was more of like, this is what we're getting. And you can only look at the stats as they are on the thing and from last season. Although they are actually, the Germans have already started their league, the 2 games in. Don't know if he started either, to be honest with you. Mike says here again, thanks, Mike, you guys should look at the championship. Yes, we should. Schmodix, why aren't we going in? And I know you had him in your dream 25, and I agree with you 100%. And it was a case of like O'Hare as well. I mean, Coventry down the road, he wouldn't have had to have looked for somewhere to live, would he? And he was on a free. But obviously, maybe we looked at him, we didn't fancy him. But yes, why aren't we looking at? Is it money? Do you think, or? I mean, would Schmodix cost us more than 17 million that we're paying for this guy?
I don't think they're asking that much for him. The only thing is, now I've had a bit of time to think and done a bit of reading about Schmodix, is that he's been great. I mean, when he was up against us, he was brilliant. He was so busy, causing problems left, right, and centre, even if he wasn't getting a shot off. But the only thing is, he's just not tested at this level, and he's only had one good season in the Championship. So it would be a punt again. This is where we've got to. We're going to be taking punts, which is why I'm excited about Buonanotte, because he has actually got proven experience in the Prem. So it would be a punt again. It really would.
It would. Mike says apparently Ipswich are 5 million short of Schmodic's value. What is his value? Do you know, Mike? But I mean, look, we know Daka could score because he could score off. Can't remember which league we got him from now. Was it the Austrian league?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was. So he could score in that league. That's no guarantee that he's going to score in our league, is it? Every signing is a bit of a gamble, really, isn't it? Because you don't know. You look at any player. And Buonanotte, let's say, for example, you think, he played really well, but he played well in that particular team. Bringing him into your team doesn't mean he's going to do well. But I just want somebody in.
He was on the bench at the weekend. Locek was,
right?
Yeah, he was on the bench against Real Betis.
Right. Mike says Blackburn want 15 million. If they want 15 million for him, then that's less than we're paying for for this Adam guy. And in his picture here,
that made me chuckle. This Adam chap. Come on.
I'm still struggling with Faze and Faz, as you know. And Coley, I want to call him Ockley, but look, can't we just find somebody called Smith, please? But look, the picture in Leicestershire Lives of him with his medal and his 2 trophies and what have you. But we've got to say the part that he played, and yes, as Mike pointed out, there were other players there ahead of him. But at least with somebody like Schmodix, is it better that he knows English football? Yes, he doesn't know the champion. He doesn't know the Premier League, but he knows English football. Rather than somebody like that, like Daka, that doesn't know the English game, because the English game is so different to continentals, and is not the Championship more like the Premier League than the German or the Austrian league?
I think it's just swings and roundabouts. I don't think
Right.
the Championship. I don't think the Championship is like the Premier League. But similarly, I don't think a European side has certain facets that Premier League teams have. The speed is totally different for starters. They tend to play a lot more attacking football. But on the flip side, this Adam guy is coming from a club with an amazing coach currently, like an amazing coach. They went unbeaten in the domestic league last year and only lost the Europa final. That was their only defeat of the season, which is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
So our lad ruined the Europa final for them, didn't he? What's his name that we signed? We had him on loan the season before. He scored, didn't he? The winger from. What was his name?
Yes. Lookman,
that's it. He scored and ruined the dream. So it's swings and roundabouts. There'll be pluses and minuses from the Championship coming through. But I would argue that Adam has played the more elite football, although he's not been playing that often.
Like you say, they're all punts, aren't they? At the end of the day, whoever we side.
What's your language, Chris? What's your language?
I'm bringing you down to my level, aren't I?
Or up.
Oh no! I set myself very low standards, and I often fail to come up to them. Let me tell you that.
The Leicester team are now known as a bunch of punts.
Oh God, Kate talking dirty. That will get that guy in the chat going, won't it?
But you never know, do you? We don't sign enough players with genuine Premier League experience. That has always been a concern for me. When you think of even some of our best players, they weren't Premier League experienced. Riyad, Jamie, they weren't Premier League experience at all.
No, and at the end of the day, look, we know that we've got a good transfer team in there now under Glover. And occasionally you pick 10 apples, you're going to get a bad one in there. Look, Man United, remember that goalkeeper they signed? That was absolutely awful.
Yeah.
I mean, every club's made bad signings.
Fabian Barthez for a time as well, who was an absolute calamity for a while.
God, wasn't he? Yes. So all clubs do it, let's be honest with you. But, we have to, for every Tete we sign, we are starting to get the occasional Lookman or whatever. But I tell you the thing that worries me. I could be here all night telling you the thing that worries me. But and this is with the striker thing, is that, and I may have said this to you before, so forgive me if I have. When we got rid of Mahrez, everybody we bought in, it's no Mahrez, is he? Oh, he's not a Mahrez. Oh, we need a winger that's like Mahrez. And you're like, you're not going to get another Mahrez. Mahrez was Mahrez, if you get what I mean. But everybody was being compared to him. And I feel that's happening with strikers now, is that, he's not a Jamie Vardy, is he? You're not going to get another Jamie Vardy. We could go, I'm 63. I could be dead in 10 years, 15 years. We'll never see another Jamie Vardy in my lifetime. So let's stop trying to replace Jamie Vardy and let's get somebody in that will just fit into the team. But I do feel that is the problem. We're not, we are judging people on the people we're hoping that they will replace.
Yeah, I think the problem is that most managers come in wanting that lone striker. And that's not really what Jamie is too much. He was in his younger years, I guess, but he would probably have preferred playing in a 2. But we've got a real problem in that Jamie's one of the few traditional, if not the only traditional number 9 left now in the league. You know, it's a dying breed for some crazy reason. I've said before, like Pep lives rent free in everyone's heads, including Sunday league teams who haven't even got the capacity or skill to be playing that kind of football, and people just try it anyway. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and I wish some manager would break the mold and do it. Because playing out from the back all the time, if you've got the personnel, the philosophy is flawless. But if you haven't, which the majority of people don't, then try and play with what you've got. And we've got a really good young thing by the looks of it in Cannon, who offers something completely different to Vardy. The only thing I want to replace is Vardy's finishing, because I think it's exceptional and his genuine football brain. But that doesn't mean to say they all have to run off the back of defenders. They have to be always looking for the ball behind. That's not necessarily the case at all. But yeah, and I know what you're saying. We don't want a like-for-like replacement because you'll never find it.
No. Now, rules. They are going to be, as they always do, they're going to be changing rules, the Premier League. Just to keep us on our toes. Let's have a look. There'll be difference in the new Premier League season, however. Leicester and the 19 other top flight clubs were the subject of a refreshing of various rules. That in itself is not new. Gold line technology, VAR, etc. The rules aren't as dramatic as those already mentioned. Indeed, they're subtle and might not even be picked up by many. One is related to goal celebrations. Teams will now have 30 seconds after a goal is scored to be back in position and ready for kickoff. Any time which exceeds 30 seconds will be added on by the officials. For fuck's sake! I mean, we're going to have people sat on the sidelines with stopwatches now. Hang on, 30 seconds is up, guys. Put a flag up and say, get back into position.
Sorry, what's the penalty if you don't do 30 seconds? What have they said then? They'll add the time
added on at the end.
Well, I'm sorry, what the fuck's been going on anyway then?
Well, it should be, shouldn't it?
But didn't you realise like the 7 or 8 or 9 minutes that was getting added on at the start of the season because they were actually properly counting the injury time now soon just drifted away and we're back to the usual 3 or 4 by the end of the season. It's an absolute joke. It's the easiest thing to monitor. Reading about Man City's latest fine because they were delaying, they delayed something like 23 kickoffs last year. Why are you fining people that have their pockets laced with gold? The only way to stop it is if you're late coming out when you've been there 3 hours before kickoff, is you forfeit the fixture. The end. And it will absolutely stop it.
Yes.
But if you've scored a winner, like the Everton game with when Nacho got that first ever VAR goal, we went absolutely mental. Everybody went mental. And sometimes there's goals that are scored and 30 seconds is too short, but it should be added on anyway. Even if it's 28 seconds, it should still get added on because that's not in play. This
is not a sport anymore.
Their own shitness there.
Yeah, but it isn't a sport anymore. I mean, I said earlier that this season is going to be decided not by what happens on the pitch, but what happens around a table at the FA headquarters. It is not football. And now I'm a great believer in adding time on. You know, I play to watch, and I don't have any problem, no problem at all. If a team is winning and they get that ball and they take it into the corner and they try and hold it up, no problem with that at all, because I would expect my team to do that. So that's fine. But you know, the things like when we played Burnley that time, the player was fouled off the pitch and he edged his arse onto the pitch so that the game would be stopped. I pay to watch 90 minutes of football, not 63 minutes. You know, when you got idiots and for Bruno Fernandes, the guy I most hate in the Premier League more than any, I just want to smack his face when I see him. And he'd probably do the same. He'd probably feel the same if he ever saw me. So I'm not, saying that. But I hate the guy with a vengeance. He goes down. You fart as you run past him and he goes down and holds his face to stop the game. To me, that's cheating.
Yeah, it is.
And that time,
it is.
If that time is added on, yes, And look, you have got 15 minutes or whatever it is, 20 minutes at half time. Some teams come out a bit early because they're up and raring to go. Other teams do tend to drag it out a little bit, like you say. But finding a team like that, no. Maybe
You should know that, like in cricket, you've got 2 minutes to get to the crease once the batsman's out. You have 2 minutes.
Yeah.
The end.
I didn't know you were a cricket fan. This is all coming new to me today.
Oh, my family are cricket people, really. Yeah, I've grown up watching every sport, really. But yeah, you've got 2 minutes to do cricket. There's strict things around timekeeping in sport because it's really important. And if you have a couple of goes at being late to kick off for Manchester City, you get a warning and you say, if you do it a third time, you will forfeit the fixture. It is the end of the deal. They arrive at the ground probably 3 hours before. If there's traffic issues, it's different.
Yes.
If you've got a genuine reason to arrive late at the ground. But delaying kickoff is all about tactics on like making the other team wait. And it's people getting into other people's heads. And it's cheating. The kickoff is at 3. If you're not here at 3 on the dot, then we'll take it as a home win or whatever it is. And we've won the fixture and you've not turned up.
You see, this is
so
to me.
Sort.
This is to me where VAR can be useful. Is that they can see on the time when these teams come out, etc. Maybe give the manager, right, if your team's out, you get a yellow card. If your team's out twice, that's a second yellow card, you get a red card, you can't be at the side of the pitch for the next game. And there's no radio contact. We'll take that away as well. Maybe that will get the managers out on time.
I just think forfeit the fixture. But you'd forfeit a wicket if you're not out in cricket in 2 minutes. Every other sport has really serious consequences because they don't want no shenanigans. Football daren't ever take that dip. It's the only sport in the world where the referee is in control of the clock. Have you ever realised that? Baseball's not, rugby's not, tennis isn't, basketball isn't, baseball isn't. It's the only sport in the world where the referee has control of the time, which brings corruption and inaccuracy all the time.
Well, I hadn't thought about it like that, but Kate has always...
NFL, the referees have nothing to do with timekeeping.
No, it's a good point. I have no comeback on that whatsoever.
Because they want to exploit it. Every rule that's written, like this 30-second one, will be exploited in some capacity.
And I think, and Simon Jordan said this, on that interview I was watching. He said, we pander to the so-called Big Six too much. Yeah,
we just, for some reason, the irony of a ball sport is the people running it don't have balls. I don't understand why they just don't make it more of a more deterrent. Like, you don't want to be late unless there's a genuine reason that you can argue the case and chat with the referee about.
Yes.
But if you are late, when you've probably arrived at the ground, probably around 11 o'clock for a 3 p.m. kickoff, maybe 12, you've had a lot of time to be there to get out of your dressing room on time.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable.
No. Oh, you say that you like all sports. Let me test that with you now.
Oh, God. Don't bring out something like bowls.
My bowls are very much going to be kept under the table. Thank you very much. Let's not go there. Wrestling. Now, you are probably, whether that is a sport or not is another matter. I can remember the days of Big Daddy, Giant Haystacks. You'll probably wonder what the hell I'm talking about.
No, I do remember those. I watched it loosely in the late 90s.
Loosely?
An ex-boyfriend loved it, so I would watch it from time to time, and I didn't know what the hell was going on.
My dad loved it, and that was the one thing I used to do with my dad was World of Sport. And at 4 o'clock, I think it was on a Saturday afternoon, before the it used to go on before the final results came in, and you'd see the wrestling. I mean, look, we all know that was but the referee there. How often did you see the referee? And I know it was all put on, but going over into the corner to talk to when it was used to be tag team.
Trainer.
Yeah, talking to them, and then somebody else was hitting somebody else behind him, and the crowd were going mad, but he had no idea it was going on, supposedly. And that happens in football, isn't it? How often the referee's distracted. He can't see everything that's going on. And, he sees a player go down holding his head. He has to stop the game. Those are the rules now. And I understand that. But how often do we see the ball hit somebody like there and then go, oh, God, and all this?
Okay,
VAR should be able to look at those incidences and say, You cheated. You fooled the referee. That's a yellow card.
Yeah, or again, make proper consequences. If you have treatment, you've gone down, you've stopped the game, you go off for 5 minutes. The MLS have brought it in. If you have treatment on the pitch, you have to go off, I think, for 2 minutes. And with substitutions in the MLS as well, you have 10 seconds to do it. You have 10 seconds. That's it. If you don't do it in 10 seconds, the substitution is cancelled.
Wow.
Like the MLS have brought it in because they trialled it for a year, and the delay to games was cut by something like 1,000%.
Really? Wow.
Like 5 minutes in a game to less than 30 seconds. It was the difference was unbelievable. Because they were like, I've got to get off. I need to get off.
We do need something. I mean, I'm very much personally for retrospective punishment. I really am, because I think with that, say, all right, you've got a yellow card, so that adds to your tally of yellow cards, which means you're going to get closer to a ban, if you like, and that would soon bring the managers into the change room saying, "You do not go down."
Yeah, or call their bluff. If it's a genuine head injury, you go off.
Yes, yeah. But I just think,
if you go like that, you don't get doctor on, you just carried straight off.
Yes.
If you've said that you have a head injury, you will need to be properly assessed, a concussion test done. The end. Yeah.
And not just for head injuries, for anything when you go down. How often have we're still seeing diving, we're still seeing fouling, and the referee, let's be honest with you, he's only human. He looks at it and goes, "No, to me that was a foul." And
or just play on. If you get injured and you need treatment, just play on. Why do we have to stop?
What I'm saying is, though, but if you go down to get, even without getting injured, to get a free kick, and it is seen afterwards, because you've got VAR watching it, certain things they can't interrupt with, but they can make a note of that, and then afterwards give them a retrospective yellow. And like I say, add that to the total. Now, here we go then. The IFAB has updated the laws for fouls and misconduct, as we're talking about this, to the following. A clarification that non-deliberate handball offences for which penalties are awarded are to be sanctioned in the same way as fouls, which are an attempt to play the ball or challenge for the ball. Do you understand that?
So what does that mean? An indirect free kick then?
I have no idea. On the other hand, penalty kicks must see the ball either touch or overhang the centre of the penalty spot before being taken.
I thought they had to anyway. I thought referees were quite hot on that usually.
Meanwhile, encroachment during penalty situations will only be penalised if it has an impact, such as an encroaching player scoring a rebound.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, that I can kind of get that, but again, why are we making it so complicated? Is that part
because
of the
they haven't got the balls to do the proper punishment. Forget and just eradicate all the grey. Unintentional handball, not deliberate handball, is not a foul. It's not a foul. If someone smacks it at you from a metre out and hits your hand, whether it's in an unnatural position, whoever invented that phrase, then it's not handball.
No.
Because someone smacked it at you. Most of the time you see these penalties given, the players aren't even looking, have no idea where the ball is.
Yeah.
Again, it's just not realistic. It's not common sense. The amount of times we see the movement of the ball in the hand and the replay is like this on a constant loop.
Yes,
and I'm like, he wasn't even looking at the ball. How can you call it deliberate? Just act with common sense.
Well, you see, this to me, and I've got to say, what a fine gentleman he is. He agrees with the players be punished on a Monday every week in retrospect. Totally agree.
Then what does the punishment look like?
A yellow card. I think that's the simple thing. A yellow card for everything, and then they just carry on adding up.
Because to me, if you're cheating, and I don't remember years ago, do you remember, was it Adrian Mutu for Chelsea did cocaine and got banned for months? And Eric Cantona, Kung Fu the fan. And like we've had these, if you're caught cheating, the spectrum of cheating is really broad, but it's under the same umbrella for me, whether it's taking performance enhancing drugs or whether it's fooling an official, which is what most of players do. If you're fooling an official when you're caught, it's cheating, and there's probably a 3 to 5 game ban. It's not acceptable. But we're so scared in football to take the plunge with proper punishments that every other sport does.
Don't let me ever upset you, Kate.
It just pisses me off though. Like if you watch other sports like rugby, it's like you go 10 yards back, the free kick's pushed 10 yards further forward if you chat to the ref and give him shit. NFL, they just don't tolerate it.
Well, when I called you Miss Slash, and that's the reason why, maybe it should have been Whip Slash. You're scaring me now.
Simple. It's just so simple. It appeals so many fans. All fans would think, oh yeah, I know the crack with this. He's got 10 seconds to get off the pitch for a substitute.
All right, let's make it a red card then.
Yeah.
And then and
it would genuinely stop it in a heartbeat, in a week. You wouldn't need to do Monday retrospects because one Monday would be enough.
Yeah. And I mean the other way of getting around this as well, like you said very, 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 very correctly, is that there's too much grey area with handball. Why do we not don't put referees on VAR? It's true, but players know the rules of football, don't they? Well, they should do, because they're going to play by those rules. If you have been playing for Liverpool or Man United or Chelsea, you are going to go and probably have a decent career after your football career finishes. If you've been playing for Colchester, Stockport, Newport, you're probably not. You're going to end up, and no disrespect, as like a plumber or an electrician or something like that. But why not get those players involved with the VAR? Because a player will know if that handball goes up, is that a deliberate handball? Is that trying to affect the game? And then player will know and be able to look at that and go, well, actually, no, that was just how his arm went up when he was jumping. They know these things. Why aren't we using them?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to reflect on the nonsense that you've just spouted about the non-deliberate handball rule and treating it like a foul where the player has willingly gone for the ball. I don't even know what that means. How does that change the outcome? It's still, to me, if you non-deliberate handball it because someone smacked it at you from a yard and you're still given a goal against you effectively in a penalty, it's not acceptable.
No, I can't. You're talking sense. I can't argue with you.
Really difficult to justify that punishment for, to me, what is not an offence in the first place. You know, if we're talking about Luis Suarez on the goal line against Ghana all those years ago, it's an absolute dead sir. That's deliberate handball every day of the week. And some other ones that you see that are really obviously deliberate. They've tried to control it with the hand impulsively or not impulsively. Yes. But most of them that you see, you're like, flipping heck, there's not much you could do about that. Like when people go like that because they think the ball's going to smack them in the face, it's deemed an unnatural position. Well, if you're getting something shot at your face, how is that not a natural position to put your hands up?
Yes.
There's just no common sense. It's impossible.
Totally. Very quickly now, just running through these last changes. I mean, so many changes need to be done in my eyes, and some of these are just, well, why the fuck are we bothering with these? Team news: teams can now be able to release their lineups publicly 75 minutes before kickoff, as opposed to the previous allotted time of 1 hour.
I've seen that actually. That's in line with Europe, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. But they're allowed to. They don't have to. But I must admit, as a YouTuber, that does watch-alongs, that's fantastic. There's always a last-minute panic trying to get the graphics right with the team. In line with the expansion of substitutions from 3 to 5, teams will now be able to have 5 substitutes warm up on the touchline at once, as opposed to the previous 3.
I did not know there was a limit.
I didn't.
Bloody hell, what a bullshit rule.
Yes.
There's so many people on the bench as well that are always up and out the technical area. The manager never sticks in his bloody technical area. Klopp goes running down the pitch. Yeah. So why do you restrict substitutions? They've all got bibs on. You know they're not taking part. Goodness me, what a bureaucracy.
This will really, really be a game changer. Hashtag sarcasm.
Sarcastic.
Yes. Also, ball assistants. For fucking hell, why don't we just call them ball boys or ball girls? But ball assistants, positioned behind the goals, can return the ball directly to the goalkeeper as opposed to a nearby cone.
Hey? Was that not happening anyway? Don't you see kids roll the ball to the goal?
I think this came in.
I absolutely hate to think what six-figure salary this person is getting paid to put this absolute load of shite together.
Yes. Oh, here we go. Now this is interesting. Players and coaches delaying restarts from the technical area will be given yellow and red cards for infringements, respectively.
Okay. Should just be red, but anyway.
Yeah, players and coaches. But again, aren't we doing that now?
What have you been doing then?
Yeah. I don't know. Someone just put jobs worth bullshit there.
But what about the real problems at hand? The constant faking injuries, the constant conning of the ref, the constant timekeeping. They're the three probably most annoying things in football for fans and players when you're losing.
We've got important things like ball assistance. Give the ball back to the goalkeeper. Don't be silly, Kate. Come on, where are you?
I can't even believe someone's been bothered to write rules about how the ball is given back to a goalkeeper from a kid.
I want to ask you one more question, if you don't mind, before I let you go.
Okay.
Because this has been this boils my piss. It really, really does. I may have mentioned this too, and I may have asked you about this before, but I did. Get
it out, Chris. Come on, get it out.
It's good to talk. Now then, we have a goalkeeper who is an international goalkeeper, who is a very, very good goalkeeper. But apparently, he can't take goal kicks.
Oh, yeah.
Now, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I always thought that if the ball went out, as the goalkeeper, if I'm the goalkeeper, the ball goes out to my right, I have to take that goal kick from the right side of the box. No. Apparently, because Coley for us is our new goal kick taker. And he's on the left. And I did actually see, and all right, it was a pre-season friendly, so maybe it was let go. The ball went out to the right. Mads Hermansen went and got the ball because we didn't have the ball assistants being allowed to play it back by that point. So he had to go and he got the ball.
On the phone.
Am I being a little bit sarcastic here? I don't know.
You're just talking us through the current process, which is absolutely terrible.
And he threw it to the left side to Coley. So Coley goes to take the goal kick. And you know this, so I'm not. When I'm asking it, it is a respectful question or whatever they say. He takes that goal kick, not upfield, not to another defender, back to fucking Mads Hermansen, who then passes it out to a player who's probably got 4 or 5, or a few attacking players watching him. Now, when I spoke to, I think it was Rob Tanner, he said, or no, a Neil possibly, I can't remember, but apparently that is because we're playing that sort of defensive role. It draws their players forward.
That's what I said. That was me.
That was you, was it?
Yes.
What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I know. That's the philosophy, because as soon as you're taking the first kick as a goal kick, whether it's the goalkeeper or not, then the opposition players are allowed in the box. And I think that's to draw them in, to then free up other players for then Mads to play it to. But I don't know why it can't be the other way around. Like Mads can play it to a Coley, for a Coley to then do that, or Vestergaard probably preferably. I don't really understand it. You're preaching to the converted, but you're asking the uneducated.
But when Mads does actually take a goal kick long, and he was taking a few pre-season, all right, 50-50 chance of that ball going to a Leicester player or an opposing player, because you can't control, when it's going up to the other end of the pitch. If we lose it, we're losing it in their half.
Yeah, that's why I like. That's why I tend to like longer goal kicks in certain situations. I think it's good to mix it up for sure, but you don't want to become predictable, which I just feel we've been for the past 3 or 4 seasons, really. But yeah, I like a good hoof up the field, really, because, like you say, it's in their half. It will be a loose header for sure, because you can't control the ball like that from a goal kick, really. So even if the defender gets his head on it, you can pick up the second ball.
Yes. Just
But yeah,
me
it
up.
is frustrating. Everyone's always a bit like, "What's going on there?"
Yeah, I just don't see the. Anyway, calm.
Do some
I've
Googling
shared
on it. See what other people say.
nobody said anything yet.
Another reason.
There might be. Maybe they just don't trust Mads Manson. I don't know.
I often used to think if it was because the keeper was injured in some capacity.
Again, I think it's probably
injured
just
enough
one of
to not
those,
play.
one of those things, isn't it? Like you say, one team does it, and then everybody else follows like sheep.
Mentality gets you nowhere.
It doesn't. Kate, thank you so very, very much for coming on. Very last question now. What position would you put Leicester finishing next season? What are your hopes, dreams, and expectations? Let's finish it on that.
I got asked this question earlier, actually. So I've split that into two: on the field and off the field. So on the field, I think I would look. I mean, obviously, 17th position would be where I would want us to finish at least. Yeah. But I think on the field in particular, I want to see us play more progressive football. I want us to get a proper Vardy. I know you don't like the word replacement, but a number 9/striker, whatever it's going to be, we need to do that. That would be a great success for us if we could come away from this season thinking, yeah, Vardy can go. We're sorted. We're on. Yeah. We've covered it, mate. We've completed that. And get some real attacking football together. That would be a success on the pitch. And I personally think we'll perhaps finish 15th or 16th. That's my hope. And then off the field, I'd love to see us get a successful case in FFP, whether that means not too detrimental points deduction or whether it means we win the case. And I'd also just like to see some sustainability in terms of management. We've had 4 managers in 16 months, which is a lot for Leicester City. And that has to change because it just doesn't equate to success for me. It's too volatile. And it unrests fans. Like, this is why there's a lot of fan unrest. It all came from Brendan because we didn't boot him quick enough. And then now that we have, it's like bloody buses. So, yeah, that's what my hopes, dreams and expectations.
In fairness, though, we weren't sacking all those managers, were we?
No, I know, but it's just a lot of change.
It is. We don't like change, do we?
We'd like to see like a manager stay for 3 or 4 seasons again, like Brendan did, because that is a really good tenure to kind of establish yourself and get the team cohesion going.
For me, echo a lot of what you said there. 17th would be perfect. I would take that now. Dreams again with the FFP. I'm thinking like maybe it keeps being delayed because we've got a case, and maybe this is what that they're worried about. I don't think the Man City thing is. I think that's just a smokescreen for delays, but at least they're having a go at that. So my hopes are that they will sort every team out. And I don't care if they go back to look. Forest got fined, Everton got fined, but with points deductions, but they both stayed up, so they weren't particularly hurt by it. Even if they came and said, "Look, we've cocked up with PSR, it's not working the way that we hoped it would do. We're going to scrap all these claims." Fine, scrap everything. I don't mind Man City getting off if they scrap the same for every team, and if they say, right, Everton, we're not going to do you any more points deductions. Leicester, we're not going to do you any. So again, even hopefully, so that is something I'd like to see. I don't think it's going to happen. And I agree with you 100% on the manager. Let's give him a chance. I hope he gets that chance. I hope that we're looking at. I've gone from Spurs being possibly beatable to probably struggling. We might struggle against them now, especially now they've got Solanke and what have you. But what I hope is that the manager is given time. We can't judge him on the first 10 games because, and I know we've got a decent start, etc., but we can't. You can't do that anymore with managers. You've got to give them the time and managers aren't given the time. And I just hope the fans get behind Cooper.
Yeah, I don't think Top's a trigger-happy owner at all.
He's not, but the fans can have a big influence on it, can't they? If he's going along to the game, and
the same fan would say that the club don't listen to fans. To fans. I think Top does what Top wants to do, and I don't find him trigger-happy, no matter what.
Well, we saw that with Brendan, didn't we?
Yeah.
He gave him
I do get what you're saying. There's going to be a lot of unrest, but the problem is, what bothers me about fans feeling unrest is that 2 months ago, these same sort of expert football pundits that we've got in the terraces, they were saying how tough it's going to be this year. And I think I tweeted about that the other day. Well, you knew it was going to be tough, so now it is tough. You're saying out with the manager.
Yes,
like you've got to accept. You've got to swallow that pill.
Fans who also said, Enzo Ball's not going to do us very well in the Premier League.
Exactly.
Yes.
Sometimes you've just got to think, what would make me happy and stop me moaning for a little bit if my expectations about being a shit season are going to come true? If you're expecting shit, then you've not really got a lot to moan about this year, then, have you?
No,
because you're expecting it to be bad anyway. So if it goes beyond your expectations and we get 0 points or we get the lowest points tally ever, then maybe you've got something to moan about. But before a ball's kicked in the league, I'm just not having that. And remember, there's always one word that we need to remember for Monday: Spursy.
Indeed. One of your favourite words, isn't it?
Absolutely is. It's one of my favourite chants. Who came third in a 2-horse race? That will be belting on Monday.
It will. And I've got to be honest with you, I think Spurs are beatable. And I think it's not a bad first game because I think they are beatable. It's not. No, I would not like to have had Arsenal or Man City up first but we have got a good start to the season. It's not a bad start. I think Arsenal obviously are about 4th or 5th game, but apart from that, it's not a bad start. Spurs, and if we can beat Spurs, can you imagine the boost that would give us?
Yeah, or even if
it's a big 6 team.
Even if we draw, or even if we lose, say 1-0, but we've played our hearts out and everybody was really convinced by what they're seeing, but except that Spurs are probably a top 6 team and have got some amazing talent. Like if you come away feeling positive, which is what Steve said last week that he wanted to achieve, that even if we lose, even if we draw, I want all fans to come away from that stadium feeling excited and engaged by what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And and the fans need to play a part in that, though. It's not just about on the pitch. You've got to create a cauldron of a KP. We need that back so much.
Yeah.
And really will the players on, because they say time and time again from every club that fans really do make a difference.
Well, let's hope that they give us something to get excited about.
If Daka scores the winner, if he makes a miraculous recovery and scores a winner,
comes in and he goes off the back heel of his hospital boot or whatever.
Like Jamie wore the thing on his wrist for the champion. Yeah, he's going to be like that. He'll never take it off.
But give us. I mean, nothing in pre-season's got me excited, and that's the thing. Watching those performances, but let's hope we get the performance.
It's been and gone now. It's been and gone.
You're going to give him a good reception.
Who? Maddison. Yeah, I love Maddison.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love him. I know there's a bit of annoyance about him before, but I always felt going to most games that season in the year we got relegated that he was one of the ones that was A, vocal, and B, tried his best. But given his lack of defensive qualities and we didn't have the ball a lot, there was little he could do.
No. I
mean, it would have been lovely to see him in an Enzo team. I'd love to have seen Maddison in an Enzo team with Harry Winks. It would have been incredible.
Yes. You can't see, but I've got a Maddison signed shirt on there. I love the guy. And as mad as I was at the time when he took that penalty against Everton, at least he had the balls to grab the ball and take it. And to me, there's some players when they leave that I would quite honestly boo when their name is read out at the KP. Fofana is one of those. But both KDH and Maddison, neither of them particularly asked to leave. They were both sold for a reason, and so fair play to them. I do hope Maddison doesn't get booed. Have I said that the right way around?
Yeah.
Yes. Kate, thank you so very, very much for coming on and having a chat. Hopefully that's a therapy for everybody. They've all got this
positive. Preseason has been and gone. We've got some new recruits. Hopefully, a few more coming.
Yes, hopefully so. Stay on the line because I just want a quick word with you after, if I can do. How can people find you?
I'm at Kate Blakey 40 on X.
Oh my God, you look like a West Ham fan then.
Oh God, don't say that. So follow me on there, Kate Blakey 40, for some football chat.
Yes, and we won't mention Newcastle. Coming up tomorrow at 7. No, we haven't got that one. We've got the Prediction League. It is back. And yes, we can. Whatever happens, please, somebody don't let Brad win. That's all we've heard about how he is the winner. That is back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. No, it's not. What day? What? Oh, God, I'm lost with my days. I told you I'm having a bad week.
Thursday tomorrow.
Thursday. So this is coming up tomorrow. The first preview of the new season. Leicester City versus Tottenham Hotspur. We've got a gentleman coming on, Stephanie de Sykes' son, if you're old enough to remember Stephanie de Sykes. He runs a Tottenham website. He's coming on to give us a chat. So I was right. I was actually right. Friday's the prediction show. Oh, God. But thank you all very much. Thank you, Kate. And hopefully see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock, everybody. And don't forget, follow Kate. Follow us if you don't. Everything's on LTID TV, on all the socials. Smash the likes on the video. Subscribe. And if you want to, click that notification bell, and then you'll never miss another show. I've been Chris. This has been LTI TV. And I will be back.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.